There's a question I've heard all my life in this country, one that pops up every few months on TV, on social media, in workplaces, and especially in conversations among migrants. And it's this: is Britain a racist country? Now, depending on who you ask, that question sparks everything from anger to guilt to denial to deep personal pain. But here's the truth: most people don't actually want to talk about it. And that's exactly why we need to. Because if you're new to this country or you've lived here your entire life, this question affects all of us. How we understand it determines how well we live together. And ultimately, it affects whether newly arrived migrants succeed here or gets pushed to the margins. So today, I'm not here to shame Britain. I'm not here to defend Britain. I'm here to offer a balanced, honest perspective rooted in 30 years of living here as an immigrant and a black man. And my hope is simple: that this conversation helps migrants understand the society they're joining and encourages British people to support that journey. Let's start with a question.
Do you think that we live in a racist country?
To be honest, it's not a great question. It forces a yes or no answer to something that's far more complicated. My public affairs lecturer in college used to say, conflict sells, bad news travels fast. And that's why the media loves framing questions this way. It grabs the attention, but it shuts down real conversation.
What people like you do to me.
People like
and
me?
Yes.
What do you mean people like me?
Prejudice. Racially prejudiced people like yourself. That's what you do. That's why we need safe spaces.
You're calling me racially prejudiced?
Britain isn't a one-size-fits-all. London isn't Liverpool. Manchester isn't a small seaside town. Where you live will shape your experience. So instead of asking, is Britain racist? A more helpful question might be, how well is Britain managing the shift from a mostly homogenous society to a truly multiracial one? That opens the door to a real conversation. Before we go deeper, let's look at the facts. The UK has some of the strongest anti-discrimination laws in the world, from the Race Relations Acts to the Equality Act 2010. Laws don't change hearts, but they do set standards and give people recourse to fight back.
Free at last! Free at last!
The laws simply implies this is who we want to be. Does it mean racism no longer exists? Of course not. But it does show the country has made a deliberate choice to push in the right direction, and that matters. Here's something most people don't understand. Not everything that looks like racism is about race. Sometimes it's about identity. Now, historically, even white groups like the Irish and East Europeans faced hostility too. But they eventually blended in because they looked like the majority. But for Black and many Asian communities, visible difference means you're still looked upon as a recent migrant, even if you're third or fourth generation. And therefore, underneath this is a deeper question: who gets to be seen as fully British? Or in my case, who gets to be seen as fully English? Nationality and ethnicity get mixed up.
Paul, what is the English culture?
Tom, the English culture is the white British male or female person who may want to eat cream scones and jam each day, but the English culture of the white English person.
But why does that English culture have to be white?
You can be born in England and be English, but some people still subconsciously or consciously tie Englishness to whiteness. And if that doesn't change, then true assimilation becomes impossible for people of color. And that's where a lot of tension sits. Let's talk about something uncomfortable but important. Sometimes, what gets labeled as racism is actually frustration rooted in scarcity. When it's hard to get a GP appointment, when schools are oversubscribed, when housing is unaffordable, when wages haven't risen for years, people start looking for someone to blame. And the most visible target is the new migrant family down the road. What's invisible is years of underinvestment, Brexit fallout, poor planning. Now, the pain people feel is real, but it's the misdiagnosis of the cause of that pain that's dangerous and precisely what's fueling division. You can't talk about race in Britain without acknowledging the colonial history. The story of Windrush is central to this. So imagine being told you're British, growing up believing you belong, then arriving in the UK and finding out that your Britishness isn't recognized here. That experience shaped generations. It shaped trust. It shaped how some communities relate to the state and to institutions. Now, to Britain's credit, conversations about that history are happening more than ever. Apologies have been made. Education is shifting. Progress is slow, but it's progress. For all the challenges, something beautiful is happening in Britain. Diversity isn't just tolerated, it's becoming deeply woven into mainstream culture. Think about it. Chicken tikka masala, Afrobeats in the charts, Carnival, Eid celebrations, Diwali in Leicester, jollof rice in street markets. These things aren't on the fringe. They're part of Britain now. Does that mean racism has vanished? No. But it does show that millions of people choose to live together, share together, and celebrate together every day, often more successfully than politics does. So let's switch gears for a moment. Here's something many people don't know or don't want to admit. Britain needs migrants. With an aging population and workforce shortages, migrants keep key sectors running, like healthcare, care homes, construction, hospitality, and engineering. This isn't generosity, it's economics. But governments rarely communicate this clearly. They rely on migrants quietly, yet immigration becomes a political football at election time. So people see demographic change happening all around them without understanding why, and suspicion grows. Clear communication, community involvement, and investment in public services would solve half the tension overnight. I came to the UK in the 90s. Racism then was louder, more casual, more accepted socially.
We want a final solution to the racial problems of this country. Our solution is repatriation. We want these people out, and that's why we're marching here today.
The BNP agree they are racist. They are not interested in nationality, just race.
Is it still here today? Yes. In some places, it's even resurfacing because of far-right rhetoric. But overall, representation is better. Allyship is stronger. People challenge things today that would have gone completely unchecked 20 years ago. The direction of travel is forward. When people say migrants aren't integrating, what they often mean is you're not assimilating. Integration is simple. Learn the language, understand the culture, obey the law, participate in society. Assimilation asks for something deeper. Blend in until you're completely indistinguishable from the majority. When people see communities that dress and speak or worship differently, they assume they're refusing to integrate. And here's the key. Successful integration or assimilation depends heavily on the environment created by the host nation. When a migrant arrives, the way they're received by local communities often shape how well and how quickly they integrate. Negative experiences can push migrants to retreat into familiar spaces, choosing to live in areas where others share their background, language, or culture. It's not resistance, it's self-preservation. So, after 30 years of living here, do I think Britain is racist? No, not at its core. Does racism exist? Yes, everywhere people exist, in institutions, in everyday life, in outcomes. But Britain as a society values fairness. It tries, sometimes awkwardly, sometimes slowly, but it genuinely tries. And compared to many other countries, Britain is one of the most migrant-friendly places to live. It's not perfect, but it's better than the noise suggests. Before I wrap up, let me share something personal. When my wife arrived in the UK, she couldn't claim benefits. She had to pay an NHS surcharge on top of working and paying taxes. Every 2 years, we paid thousands of pounds. In fact, we paid almost £10,000 in 6 years. People see what migrants receive, and they rarely see what migrants contribute. Most migrants give far more than they take, financially, culturally, and socially. So when I hear slogans like, we're out to take our country back after 30 years of living here, I can't but help wonder, is there a space for families like mine in the version of Britain they're imagining? But I'm hopeful because the vast majority of British people in this country are decent, fair, curious, and welcoming. If we keep having conversations like this, open, honest, respectful, we make Britain a better place for everyone. If you're new to Britain, I hope this video gives you clarity. If you're born British, I hope it gives you understanding. And if you believe in building a country where everyone feels like they belong, then stick around, subscribe, let's build it together.